Welcome to the Chicago Golf Report podcast, brought to you by ChicagoGolfReport.com, covering everything golf in Chicago.
Talk about some of the things that you're doing. Obviously, Cog Hill is such an iconic facility. You have so many things that you can offer. What are you excited about in the near future?
Well, I think the first thing that we've done that has really gotten some major traction was the addition of the top tracer technology to our driving range. I mean, the range was a busy place to begin with. We're really well located to some golf courses that don't have a range. So we have guys come and hit balls before they play those golf courses. Obviously, we got the grinders, the guys that come out and practice, and then the people who are warming up before they play here. So, but when we added the top tracer in the 21 current bays where we have it, it kind of brought in all the generational folks who want the technology, want to be able to keep their practice statistics and see the flight of the ball, play virtual golf, play the games. So we're looking to hopefully in the future expand that to even more bays here, which would be a big deal for us. And the other thing is we're going to add lights to the driving range for the first time at Cog Hill ever. So you'll be able to hit at night at Cog Hill, which you've never been able to do. So that's really close. We'll have that sometime in the month of April.
And you've added a bar to it. I know you've added different tables. So it's kind of a whole area where you can go and hang out in addition to playing golf.
Correct. And that's the entertainment factor that we're looking to provide there. And that'll probably be a little more prevalent in the evenings where people can get, and we'll do food and beverage down there. So the bar was the first element because of course it's golf. The bar has to be first, right? So but we'll have food down there eventually as well. And it'll be more of a kind of a nighttime entertainment spot with some abilities to have, nighttime events and leagues, and we've even had people asking for golf outings at the top tracer location. So, it'll be a nice expansion for us that has, not a lot to do with the four golf courses, but something that's exciting for us.
So let's take a little bit of a step backwards here. And we think about Cog Hill as a whole, such a memorable facility. It's a facility known around the country, around the world. And you offer so many different things. Obviously, 4 different courses. You have this top level teaching facility with the range. There's so many different things that you offer. You also have the farm to table element to it. You have the banquets facilities, you have outings. How do you decide what you're going to focus on as having all of these things at your disposal?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to the Jimsick family's been here since 1951 and owned the facility since then. And now the third generation, Catherine Jimsick's the president. That's who I report to directly. But it always goes back to what is important to them. Mm-hmm. And I think what's important to them primarily is, providing daily fee golf to their clientele. That's quality golf. It's priced, affordably and reasonably, but also they are really in touch with growing the game elements, and that's where what we call the learning center, but the whole driving range operation down there has really come around because they and I both believe that is a way for us to introduce the game in a different way to some groups of people that we'd like to do that with. So I would say it starts off with, making the facility better for our golfers, and then making it more enticing for folks who may be interested in the game or who may just be getting started, provide instruction, provide a great place to hit golf balls, a friendly place to come and play golf, we hope, in the end of that.
And where do events and outings fit into that? Is that a focus, or are you still more daily fee? How do you look at it?
No, it is a focus. We have a kind of a unique position where we can do those multi-course or those multi-course shotgun events and type events where, some only use 2 courses. We have some that use all 4 for events. We feel like we're priced fairly aggressively in that, so we don't, it doesn't cut into our daily fee business when we do get a chance to book an event. But it's a big part of our business because there's a tie-in for food and beverage for us as well. So we have a 12,000 square foot pavilion where we have the after dinner or after round meals. And last year, obviously, that all changed due to COVID. We certainly intend to get back into that business full scale. Mm-hmm. But we learned some different ways to do things with the outings, with food on the course, and with some ways where we didn't do the after golf sit down. That was really unique, but it's a unique place in that, as you know, in that we can just handle some events that other facilities cannot handle. So it's a big part of our business, to answer your question quickly.
Yeah, and I would assume that might be even growing further. Obviously, last year was a great golf in terms of golf participation, and it was such a perfect sport for people to get outside. And I think that's really kindled the excitement. But the other side of the coin too is that there are a number of different facilities, especially on the south side, that might not be around in another couple of years that are already been learning to sell. So does that bring more opportunity for you guys to come in and say, yeah, bring your events here because we're set up for this?
Yeah, it does, and it even kind of bleeds over into the wedding business too, which is another part of the business that's big for us. We do quite a few weddings throughout the course of the year, and we're pretty well suited facility wide to deal with that. So yeah, you probably are up on all the talk about there's some adjoining, very nearby facilities that are talking about selling to developers and getting out of the golf altogether. It's a golf rabid community here. Not being a native Chicago person, I always tell people, when I was growing up in Indiana, I heard these Chicago golfers were crazy, but I'm learning it firsthand right now. They,
Sure.
in a good way, crazy. I mean, they'll play when the weather is marginal, and they love the game. And for us, there's a lot of golfers in our area, and if there's fewer facilities, that's going to provide an opportunity for us to get more of those type of events and more golfers in general, we hope. But I think that ultimately, like I said, when people get here and they start to have an event here, we have a history of being able to hold on to those events for a long time. It works out really well for them. And it's hard to have the kind of footprint we have at any other place. So.
Right. One of the events that's coming up is not a sort of a golf outing, but it's a big event, is the long drive event. What's your kind of approach with something like that?
Well, the history of it is a little strange in that we were originally going to hold the World Long Drive Championship, which was owned by the NBC. And then when COVID hit, basically stopped all those events, and NBC decided to shelve the World Long Drive Championship. So that entity does not exist at this moment, and nobody has purchased it from them. But there's another group called the Extreme Long Drive and Amateur Long Drive, and they're based in east of here, and they wanted to come to the Chicago market. So we're gonna have an event, for a smaller local event for them in May, the weekend of 15th and 16th, I think it is, and then their annual event for both the amateurs and the professionals, we're going to host here in September. So we built a large grid, thinking we were going to get the World Long Drive Championship. It's over 500 yards long, 150 yards wide. It's already finished. So we'll be able to do this new event this year, see how it goes, provide some food and drinks for the people who are down there and who want to be spectators, whatever. I don't know. I don't think their plans are to sell tickets, but we're really kind of just providing the space for them and partnering with them on that. But we think it might have some legs for the future, for sure. People love to watch the events, and here with the amateur side, you can actually participate in the events, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I always thought that was such a great connection too, because one of the things that we've always learned about Joe Jemsek Sr. was his long drive. I believe it was during one of the World's Fairs, and he's known well for that. So I thought that makes perfect sense. Yeah,
it's on our beer can right here. That we did a beer called Cog Hill's Long Drive Ale last year in partnership with Pollyanna here in Lamont, and we put him on there. So yeah, that was the genesis of it. That was really like, okay, it's really cool. We have a story to tell. And so we were very excited about the World Long Drive Championship. That was the one that you see on ESPN, televised nationally and all that. Unfortunately, it was a victim of the COVID and all the stuff that hit at that time. And NBC's just decided to shelve it. So we'll see what happens with this new event. And we've got the ability to do some things down there that we'll see what happens in the future.
One of the things that's, I guess, surprised me a bit, and this might coincide with when you got here too, is you've really upgraded your presence online in terms of social media and the quality, beautiful photos, beautiful videos. And I thought that's interesting too, because it's a course with so much tradition and obviously the Jemsek name, but you've really kind of ramped it up. Is that been one of the things that you've brought to the table that you've kind of put a focus on, or is that happened organically? How does that come about?
Yeah, thanks for noticing, by the way. We've had a lot of good comments on that. And the Jemsick family has a facility that we lease from the Archdiocese at Pine Meadow up in Mundelein.
Mhm.
And then also the Jemsick family owns a golf course in Atlanta area called Summer Grove.
Mm.
So our thought was that we need to do, when I came in, our thought was we need to do a better job of getting out where people are really going to see things, which is in today's day and age on social media.
Mhm.
So after, at the end of my first season here, we did a hire. We hired Crystal Promo, and she has been really a step up in the right direction for us to put our branding out there, to put great content out there. She's also a photographer, so she's been able to add a lot of things. So it was our plan. You never know how things are going to go when you go full bore into hiring someone, but she's been great, and it really has made a difference in how Cog Hill and the other facilities look in the social media world. So, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to everything that we to our disposal. We're going to try to get out there and make sure people know the important stuff about Cog Hill.
Mhm. Yeah, I felt like that was a really important component of keeping your brand going, especially the awareness when COVID hit, because we were in that period where we didn't know, we couldn't play for a while. Then the courses opened up, and then I remember some of the video that happened. It was like it was a breath of fresh air because you could be on the course, you saw how beautiful everything was, and it was welcoming, and I thought it was such a great component to have at that stage.
Well, as you know, too, it was a perfect storm in the right way for golf in 2020. I mean, we had obviously people had available time. They wanted to get outside. They wanted to be able to stay distance from people, and then we had great weather on top of that, which was just unbelievable. So it's one of those deals where I don't know if we'll see 2020 again in its entirety in the golf business, but it also allowed us to think forward and making some capital expenses to continue to move the business forward. So that was the other importance of 2020, is if it had been exactly the opposite, we'd be having different conversations right now.
Right. So what is your overarching role? I mean, there's obviously all this components is general manager. What do you oversee in terms of the facility and the people and everything?
I explain it to people. I'm not my first general manager job, but here particularly, I'm more of a resource manager. I'm like, what do you need?
Mhm.
What do you need to get your job done? There's a lot of really long time staff members here who are loved way more than I am or ever will be, because the customers see them. They're our frontline staff and managers, and some of the folks in the food and beverage and on the golf end, and our superintendent have been here quite a while, do their job really well. So I just need to make sure that they have the resources to do their job, and then also consult with the owners to talk about what the future looks like and what things need to get changed. So yeah, that's basically my role, is to be connected with the ownership in that way, and make sure that it's a leadership and teamwork type of role. And so far I've been really happy with that. It's a great group of people. That I know why they've been here a long time, the staff members, because they are great at what they do.
One of the things that Cog Hill is known for, despite having such a wide footprint, is the quality of the courses and the maintenance of that. When you came to Cog Hill, was there already this infrastructure that was in place to keep the standards that high, or is there anything that you kind of look for to maintain a course and keep it at this level?
Yeah, I kind of leave that to the experts, and the experts in that case is our director of agronomy. His name is Chris Flick, and Chris had previously worked at the golf course where the memorial is held in Ohio, Jack Nicklaus golf course there. So so he was familiar with good quality, and it's a big piece of property, and his job includes other things besides the golf course. We've got all kinds of plantings and landscaping, and we've got other property that the company owns. So it's a big job, but I do think that was already in place when I came in here, luckily. So there were a lot of things that I didn't have to really spend too much time on. It's just that little things, little detailed things that we can continue to make the golf course operation better. To give an example, We're going to add GPS to the golf carts on course 1 and 3 this year, and they've
Mm-hmm.
never had that. So now you play 1 and 3, you're going to have, GPS unit on your golf cart, a way to get your yardages and see the layout. And for the longtime golfers, may not be that big a deal. They'll like the yardages, but for the newer players, it'll help them show them around. And so those are kind of upgrades that we always need to do. And then always, obviously, the golf courses have to be in good condition. I've been floored by the conditions of the tees, fairways, and the greens since I've been here. I mean, the fairways on 1 and 3, the oldest of the 2 courses, or oldest of the 4 courses last year, were just wonderful. I mean, they were really, really good. So, but that is a big part of what Cog Hill is known for sure.
Mm-hmm. And just as you take lessons from your own career, I think it's obvious that a facility takes lessons that they go through. I remember this was a while back, obviously, but it was all related to the growing season. It was a really bad growing season. I remember that it might have been one of the last years that Cog Hill had the PGA Tour, and I remember there was like significant changes that happened the year after to avoid that. And again, I don't think really was anything that had to do with the superintendent or anything. It was just a really tough thing. And I know it seems like since then, like that even raised it up another level in terms of the quality, not only for course 4, but the other 3. And it's always that consistency, which I think is another calling card of the facility.
Yeah, and maintenance practices, they kind of morph over time. I mean, it changed, particularly when you have snow cover. I used to work in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which talk about snow cover and cold. We covered all of our greens up there at that golf course all winter. They don't do that so much in the Chicago market, but there are a lot of things you have to do, as you know, in the business to prevent snow mold and to deal with agronomic issues that might come up over the winter that you have to get to. And then aerification, which the golfers hate, but you have to do it on older greens like on 1 and 3 in order to keep them healthy. So it's unfortunately for us, turf's a living, breathing thing, and sometimes it does great and sometimes it doesn't. But this winter looks like, a knock on wood, that things came out really well, even though we had a long period of snow cover, maybe actually because we had a long period of snow cover.
Sure. This is probably a great time to ask you this question since you've been at the facility for a while now. Can you compare what you knew about Cog Hill going into taking the opportunity, and now 2-3 years later, compare and contrast like what you thought, what your expectations were versus what the reality was?
Yeah, definitely. Well, growing up in Indiana, I thought there was one course here. I thought that was basically Dubs Dread was the only course that I thought that was a 1-course facility. So literally, that's all I knew at that point. But then when the job became open and did a little research, obviously found out that there's other golf courses, ones that have been here for quite a while. And so I had very limited knowledge about the facility, although I did know the name. And I definitely knew Joe Jemsick's name from being in the golf business earlier on, because that was a name that was always kind of bandied about when you talked about daily fee courses and upscale daily fee courses. So, but yeah, it's always interesting to drive in for the first time, which I will always remember doing, and thinking, it's a big sprawling piece of property. There's 2 courses on each side of the road. And then the first day you see the parking lot on a Saturday is what really gets your attention. Because I used to work at a place that had an amusement park as a side, or as one of their businesses. And, they had a huge open parking lot, and that's what it reminded me of. There was just a ton of cars and activity all over the place. So a really a busy and fun place in the summer for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because it's so unique. No matter if you come in from the south or the north, you drive into the facility and you're kind of met with that energy and excitement, which is very unique, because most facilities you'll come in and you may not even see the golf course, but Cog Hill's different. You come in, you see the golfers, you see all the cars, you see the people. So before you even set foot outside of your car, you kind of have this energy built up.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a hub of activity. You're going to see before you, like you said, before you get out of your vehicle, that there's other people they're going to do what you're planning to do. And and then we've got 2 golf shops that a clubhouse and 2 golf shops. So we check golfers in. So, people always say, why don't you do it out of one? Oh, you just can't, it's hard to check 4 golf courses in from one building. So I think our setup is, will change over time, but right now we've kind of got our handle on 2 courses out of each golf shop. And we're working on trying to upgrade those structures a little bit too.
Final question then, can you give me 2 or 3 items that you'd love to see Cog Hill accomplish, some goals that you'd like to accomplish, say within the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think we just want to modernize. I mean, to give you a better example, last year we started to dine on the patio last year because we had to. That's something we never really did at Cog Hill. So we learned something. We're going to continue to expand on that space and use that space because it's awesome here. There's a great patio near the 18th green on course number 1, right attached to the clubhouse. So we're going to expand on that, using that. And then, trying to get a food and entertainment type venue going down at the driving range is a big deal for us. And then also to make sure that we position the 4 golf courses, where they need to be in the market. And the Dubs Dread golf course is obviously our big the big gorilla in the room at Cog Hill, but also to promote the other courses for what they offer and at the price range that they offer. And my thing is just always try to use technology to modernize, but also to modernize our equipment, our facilities as much as we're capable of doing, so that we stay relevant. I mean, Cog Hill's always been relevant. I certainly don't want it to stop being that on my watch. So that's an important part for me.
This has been the Chicago Golf Report podcast. Visit ChicagoGolfReport.com right now for exclusive discount offers, Chicago golf news, and in-depth event listings.